Hey everyone, Telander here, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Ostium Sagas. Did you know you can get access to a bunch more unreleased Ostium Sagas content? It's easy, just become a supporting patron at the $5 level and above on the Ostium Network Patreon at patreon.com/ostiumpodcast. On our Patreon, you'll get access to many new episodes of the Ostium Sagas you haven't heard before, as well as a bunch of other bonus content. Once again, that's patreon.com/ostiumpodcast. Now, I'd just like to thank some of our new patrons for supporting the Ostium Network. Thank you to Rob, Jedia Care, Bobby, Maggie, and Liloberry for supporting us. We really appreciate it. Okay, let's get this Ostium Sagas episode started, shall we? The Ostium Sagas. '39, Saga 3, 66 MYA, Part 3. Recorder's note. Incredible. Simply incredible. See, I can use different words other than wow each time, even if I have to work at it a bit. Just when I think there can be nothing more amazing or mind-blowing as getting to see an alternate timeline to my own reality, we have this Ostium Saga. I know we've only really just started at this point, but still, the evidence seems pretty conclusive. I, of course, had a dinosaur phase as a kid, and it lasted a good year or two. Couldn't get enough of them, and then watching those Jurassic Park and Jurassic World films was just sheer delight. Although the first one remains the best and most perfect in my opinion. Just like the first Star Wars, Episode 4 A New Hope is the best, I think. You can fight me on that if you want to. The only problem is I won't be able to hear you, so ha ha. Anyway, I don't think any of us really talked about it. With so much always going on, we've never had the chance really. How far into the future can you actually go through an ostium door? And by the same token, how far back can you go? I'm sure we can spend days discussing it, and I can't wait to share this saga with them once Jake and Mum get back. I think I'd imagined you could only go as far back as the beginning of humanity. Now does that mean the Iron Age? The start of agriculture? Or back when we were less than Homo sapiens? I don't know. As I said, I've never really thought that deeply about it, as much as I've wanted to. Regardless, we now have irrefutable proof right here in this Ostium Saga that you can go all the bloody way back to the freaking dinosaurs, when mammals were still small and relatively insignificant on the evolutionary family tree. Simply incredible. Also bloody scary. I'm anxious to find out how Ahmed fares in the land of the giant lizards, and also how this Ostium Saga came to be. And final question. If you can go back in time some odd 66 million years or more, depending on what point in time of the dinosaurs' very long existence this is, one surmises you can go even further back in time, perhaps even to when life first began on planet Earth. Wouldn't that be an interesting conundrum to solve? Okay, enough philosophizing. Let's get back to Ahmed's story. Saga continues. My stomach started rumbling as I realized I was hungry, and this was a human need that superseded my fear. I was also thinking it was time to come to the harsh acceptance that I was stuck here in the time of the dinosaurs, with no indication of how to get back. To use a really terrible pun, that door appeared to be permanently closed. This naturally added to my fear. More fuel for the fire, if you will, I thought, and that sparked, yes, pun intended there as well, I suppose, an idea. With time, I forced myself to accept the predicament I now found myself in, and to work on keeping me alive for as long as possible, because if there was anything I knew about this dangerous time, it was that there were many, oh so many things that could kill me, wanted to kill me, and why should I help any of them by neglecting the basics of keeping one's body alive? I needed to find water, food, and shelter, ideally in that order, and also create fire, as that would help improve the situation of those three basics of survival. I made myself push back through the trees once again, keeping as quiet as humanly possible. The dinosaur was very thankfully gone, while the creature it had been feeding from naturally remained. Also to my advantage, there were no other creatures feeding off the carrion. Yet, I knew it would only be a matter of time. Forcing my courage to grow, I ran down the hill and drew close to the dead animal. There was a poignant smell of blood and meat, but not of decay or rancidness, meaning it was still relatively fresh. I thought I could handle that. Searching through some nearby rocks, I found one that looked to be made of layers. I grabbed another heavier, round rock and began striking it at an angle. It gave off a sharp sound I thought was too loud, but had no choice. Soon the layered rock broke apart, and I picked up a piece with a jagged edge. This would be my combination knife and saw. I began working at the meat with it until it cut away a good piece. Not too long later, I had a fair amount that I had decided will fill my stomach for the day. My hands and arms were all bloody, as if I had murdered someone, but I just pretended I had slaughtered the creature myself, and would now be consuming it for food. I then spoke the ritualistic prayer over the meat, even though I was unsure if dinosaur could be considered halal in any way. I'm not even sure if this question has ever been asked by anyone. I would not, under any circumstances, eat this raw meat. It was sacrilegious, and I would be at risk of becoming extremely sick and possibly dying. Therefore, I needed to make a fire to cook it thoroughly, and for that I needed shelter, because creating an open flame out here would be the equivalent of putting a massive target on me and inviting anything nearby with decent eyesight to come make a meal out of me.